Are you planning your first backpacking adventure? Or perhaps you've been on a trip and forgot some of the important gear. Look no further, my friends. I've compiled the ultimate backpacking gear list, so your next trip is one to remember. Hi everyone, this is Andrea with Adventures and Dreams. We'll be covering all the essential gear that you need on your backpacking trips and on your camping trips, but also some nice to have items that are a bit of a luxury perhaps, in some cases also really good for safety. First, let's talk about the backpack. It needs to be sturdy so it can take a beating when you have fun out on your adventures. Of course, it needs to fit everything that you own or your gear. It's also really good to have compartments so you can organize your gear. Some outer pockets, the brain, of course, for the water, a compartment. It also needs adjustable straps and an adjustable torso, so you can fit it exactly to your body and to your torso length. Comfort, of course, is important. If you want to find out a little bit about this one here, the North Face Terra 55, it's my favorite one, and I have a review on my channel, and I'll link it down below in the description. Next up is the tent. It depends on what season you camp in, but for the most part a 3-season tent will do really well. Except in the winter, I would not suggest taking that one in the winter. So a lightweight but very stable 3-season tent is great. It needs to be easy to set up, and of course you need to learn how to set it up before you go on long trips. Some people also camp with a tarp setup and skip the tent altogether. And some people even go cowboy camping, which is kind of fun, but I really prefer my tent because it keeps all the critters out, it keeps insects out. For beginners, I highly suggest having a tent and always having one with you anyway, just in case you encounter bad weather. Next up is the sleeping bag, and again it depends on where you live and what season you camp in. In some regions you might be able to get away with just a fleece blanket or a quilt, or even just some warm clothes in your tent. But for the most part I really always use this one here. It goes to below freezing. It says 15 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 10 degrees Celsius. There are two different kinds. It's a synthetic bag and a down sleeping bag. And I believe the down sleeping bags are a little bit more expensive than the synthetic ones, but they're also lighter and compress better. Next up is the sleeping pad, and again it depends on where you live and what season you camp in. A foam pad will do most of the time, but it's a little bit more uncomfortable. I'm a side sleeper and I'm really appreciating the air mattress here from Thermarest that also works in 4 seasons, but it's also pretty pricey comparatively. If you're just a beginner, you can get away with something a lot smaller and cheaper, but make sure it's warm enough because the ground can actually cool you off quite a bit at night. And so it is important to get a good one, but you don't necessarily need something like this here that is truly for deep winter camping as well. You also need to be able to navigate when you're out here. Of course, if you know how to use a paper map and a compass, that is the best thing because it always works. If you use a GPS or the phone, it can run out of power. But I always have a battery bank with me, and I have all the cables that I need for all the devices that need charging. I have my phone with a service that's called Gaia GPS. And it's a subscription service, but it's worth every penny for me because I always know where I'm going, even if I have no reception at all. I mark the trail ahead of time so I know that I'm not going off trail when I go backpacking or even just hiking. I mark my campsites, my water supplies along the way, just in case I need to filter water somewhere. Yeah, it's a great service, but there are many out there, and you really just need to pick something to navigate when you backpack, even if it's just a paper map and you learn how to use it. Layers are so important when you go backpacking, so you can take some clothes off when it gets too warm, and you put them back on in the evening when it gets cooler. So in the summer you could take a short sleeve or a tank top, even a long sleeve shirt like this one here, something that protects from the sun for sure. Then I also have a fleece jacket, a down jacket for the cool evening, and a rain jacket for windy days and rainy days. And in my little compression bag here I have thermal long pants and a thermal long sleeve shirt that I use in the evening as well. And when I sleep, I have extra socks and underwear in here. Any extra clothes just go into the little compression bag. And these I have accessible a little bit easier, so I can get to them during the day if I need them. You also want an extra sleep outfit to change into in the evening before you go into your sleeping bag, because your clothes get so dusty and dirty during the day. You might be sweaty from hiking around, and your socks will be sweaty for sure in your hiking shoes. So change out of all of that, put on some fresh clothes, and it actually feels really nice to go to sleep like that. And also the sleeping bag stays really clean for many years to come, and that's just a bonus. And yeah, you just feel good. You will also need some good shoes to backpack with. Most people probably have hiking shoes and hiking boots. The boots protect you a little bit more, but they're heavier. You can also get approach shoes, which are more expensive, but the rubber sticks really well. But if you only have sneakers, but they are super comfortable and you can wear them all day without getting blisters, then you should be fine with them at the beginning. But I would suggest investing in some hiking shoes as soon as you can. What's a backpacking trip without food though? You really need it to have energy and to be warm in the evening. And the best thing to do is to get something non-perishable that's really lightweight. And I highly suggest getting any of the dehydrated meals, the freeze-dried meals, like this one here, which I had last night and was quite delicious, from Mountain House. They come in all sorts of flavors and variations, with many companies from all price ranges. So those are easy to carry. They last till like 2053, this one here. Just good stuff. Maybe some dessert. This is not essential, but it's really good. Any kind of dessert that doesn't go bad. Maybe some wine, possibly. Also not essential. What you do need for sure is some snacks, maybe some nuts or some bars or some fruits that are easy to carry. So that's really from the food department. When you cook your meals, of course, you're going to need a stove. They come in all sorts of price ranges as well. The first stove I had was really quite cheap and lasted for a while, but I used so much gas with it, I needed to take a bigger can of gas because it wasted so much of it. And so eventually I bought the Jetboil, which is not the cheapest, but you're going to save money in gas for sure because it uses so little. And it also fits the smallest gas container right in here. It's actually hidden in here along with the stove as well. So really love this thing. If you are serious about backpacking and you're going to go very often, I highly recommend this Jetboil for sure. This is the Micro Mo, and I have a review also linked down below in the description. Let's see. Of course we need utensils. Utensils to eat. You can just take some plasticware that you have at home. It's really no big deal. You can get something as fancy as titanium ware, or this is just a really simple plastic spoon that collapses. like this, and it fits actually in this mug here. I use this mug to drink coffee out of in the morning. It fits right into it. So yeah, the mug is nice to have. It's not an essential, but if you do like coffee or tea, you're going to want to put it somewhere, right? And so you might as well get something that is lightweight and sturdy, like this titanium mug from Unigear. Of course, we need to carry water with us. I have the drink bottle this time only on the trip, but you can also use a water bladder, which you can drink out of at any time because the hose just kind of attaches to your straps on the side. This water bottle you just kind of have to dig out and then put it back into your side pockets. But I didn't have space for the water bladder this time because it actually does eat up some space inside of the bag. So that's something to consider for sure. So where do you get the water from? I hope you don't have to carry it because it's so heavy. I hope you go backpacking somewhere where you can filter the water with something like this here. This collapses down to nothing, and I can actually put it in a jacket, in a pocket, or in the pockets on the outside of my backpack. This here is the Katadyn Be-Free filter, and I use it everywhere when I go backpacking if I know that there's water. There are also some purifying tablets, but I've never used them, and I can't say if they're good or not, or how well they work. I'm not sure. I always use my water filter, so I'm going to give you that recommendation instead. And of course you could also boil your water for a long time, but then you still have some debris floating in it, and it eats up a lot of your gas. So I don't know. Water filter is just a really easy and good thing to take, and it cleans the water really well, so you're safe. Let's talk about hygiene and health next. You're always going to want some toilet paper with you when you're backpacking, because you never know when nature calls. There's nothing worse than not having this on the trail. But then also don't leave any traces behind. Dig yourself a hole with something like this, like a trowel, or maybe just some tools you find in nature, like some branch or whatever, and hide what you've done there and just leave no trace whatsoever. That also goes for trash or anything that you bring with you. It should just be pristine, like you were never there when you leave your campsite. And then of course we have toiletries. So I have in this bag toothpaste, toothbrush, biodegradable floss and things like that. And then we have tissues which go in all of my pockets of the jackets that I bring, and then some spare as well, because you never know if you need them. My nose runs all the time, so I need tissues for sure. And then I have my first aid and medicine kit over here. It goes into a waterproof pouch, and it goes on top of my backpack, so I can always get to it. I always carry some pain pills, for instance, and maybe some pills in case I get an upset stomach or things like that. And the first aid kit is just bought online. It has everything in it with band-aids and all the things that go in it. And it just works really well in this little thing here. You always want to be prepared for all sorts of weather and insect situations out there. I always take my rain jacket with me, which also protects from the wind. It adds a nice layer also when it's a little bit cooler. Sometimes I also have rain pants with me if it's really wet. And then the insect spray, which is super important on this trip because the mosquitoes are just crazy. And then sometimes I also have a mosquito net that goes on my head. And I use it when I have really bad insect situation, like black flies when I was in the Adirondacks, and they were so crazy that I actually had to escape into the tent. And then we have sunglasses, sunscreen, a chapstick that also has sun protection so your lips don't burn. And of course the baseball cap, which works really well for the sun as well. And it keeps the rain out of your face. And also if you have the mosquito net, it keeps that out of your face. So it's really quite versatile. Now let's talk about safety and repair. This is all the essential stuff that I always bring, but I have some extras that I'll show you here in a moment. You're going to want a headlight that will last for a long time and that you can hopefully recharge so you don't have to carry extra batteries. This one here is really nice from Phoenix. It's pretty water resistant and dust resistant and super lightweight, and I've really come to love it. And then the repair kit has a patch kit for my mattress. It has a little utility knife, a Swiss Army knife. It has some string and some carabiners just in case I want to hang the string inside my tent to dry some clothes. All sorts of odds and ends go in this bag here. And then we have the bear bag over here, which I consider essential, even if it's not necessary and you don't have any bears where you live. But this bag also protects from little critters like raccoons and mice, for instance. I like this particular one from Ursec, which I can actually just hang to the side of the tree. I don't have to hang it high up like most of the other bags. But again, this is lightweight but more pricey. But there are many other options, and if you have trees around where you can sling the bag high up into a tree, then you can really just take anything that you have along with a string. Now that we covered all the essential things, let's talk about the nice to have stuff that I always bring as well. So for the sleep system, I always have a pillow. But of course you can just use any bag that you bring your clothes in, leave your clothes inside and use it as a pillow. But I always like to have one separately because it's so comfortable. And then I always bring a chair. Again, it's a luxury item, but my back hurts pretty quickly when I just sit around on a rock or something. And so if I have this chair, it's very comfortable and I can hang out all day in it. And speaking of chairs, this is a really cheap and simple version that you could also get. It's just a little foam pad that I always bring as well. I also use it to kneel inside the tent when I inflate my mattress, for instance, or when I change clothes, I sit on it. It's just really handy, and if it's the only thing you want to bring to sit on, these are just a few bucks and lightweight and definitely worth it. Oh, the thing that wanted to escape, those are some wet wipes. I bring them on longer trips usually, or even just sometimes overnight, because it's an easy way to clean up, to just kind of wipe off the sweat and everything. I use baby wipes because they're sensitive, they don't have any fragrance or anything like that. But of course, as usual, carry the stuff back out with you, take it in the trash. And yeah, it's just a comfortable thing, but it's not necessary. I always have a towel as well. Again, not an essential piece, but it comes in handy when you clean yourself up, or perhaps when it rains and you just want to dry off the tent a little bit. I always have my cooler cloth with me as well, which is a pea cloth for the ladies in the house. Makes it really easy to just kind of dry off. And then actually I would consider this not nice to have, but essential. But it does cost a lot of money. This is the Garmin InReach Mini. It's a satellite communicator, and it helps me communicate with family and with friends when I'm out and about. I can send them messages over satellite even if I have no connection at all. But most importantly, it has an SOS function that I can use if I'm ever in trouble, and help will come to me. They will know with the tracking of this thing where I'm at. And yeah, I love this thing. I don't go anywhere with it, even on day hikes. But it's not the cheapest thing to have, of course. It has subscription-based service, and then you have to buy the InReach Mini itself. And what else? Yes. And this is just a tent lamp that I use. Again, not important because you have your headlamp, and the headlamp is important to have. But this is just an extra light that I just keep in the tent, turn it on at night. This one here is also from Phoenix, and it's water resistant and dust resistant, and I really like it. But if I want to save space and weight, this will not come with me. And this is my fire kit over here. If you want to make a fire at camp, please make sure that you check your restrictions first in the area that you're going to. Later on in the season here in the Pacific Northwest, we won't be able to make any fires anymore because it's just too dangerous and dry. And I don't know how it is where you go, so please make sure you check it first. But in my kit I have flint, which makes it really easy to make a spark to start the fire. I have some cotton balls in here, soaked in Vaseline, which burn really well until you get some twigs going and all the other stuff. I have a lighter in here, which is a backup in case nothing else works, or perhaps my stove ignition thing doesn't work anymore. What's also nice to have, and I didn't bring it this time, is biodegradable soap. You could wash your hands with it, or dishes if you have any. And then the other thing I also don't have is hiking poles. They actually make it really easy when you backpack. They take off some of the weight, and they make you more stable when you walk if it's uneven terrain. That's quite a bit of gear that we covered here in this episode, isn't it? I hope it helped you a little bit to plan your next backpacking trip, or perhaps your very first one. But stay tuned and hit the subscribe button and notification bell, because in my next episode I'm going to show you how I pack all of this stuff up into my backpack. And I found a unique way of doing it that I haven't seen online at all yet. But it really helps me speed up my process when I come to camp and I want to set up my tent. So make sure you check that out in my next episode. But in the meantime, you can also go to my channel and see a lot of the gear reviews that I posted already for my sleeping bag, for my tent, the mattress, the stove. There's a lot of stuff already out there if you're curious about any of the items that I showed here in this video. If you have any questions, you could comment down below and I'll get back to you for sure. You can also find me on Facebook under Adventures and Dreams. You can always ping me there, and I have trip updates all the time. And if you have questions, I'll give you a shout out in my next video and answer your question during my session here in the video. But yeah, I think that's it for this episode here. I really hope you got some value out of it, and I have lots more information coming your way, especially if you're a beginner and you just have so many questions about backpacking. No question is too simple. I'm going to cover everything. But no worries, I'm also going on trips because I want to show this beautiful Pacific Northwest and all the other regions in the world if I ever travel to them. So yeah, trips are always on my schedule. Well, take care guys, and I see you on my next adventure or in my next backpacking tip video.